Top Democrats speak out and claim that they always follow the rules, insisting that the plan to redistrict Texas will make it harder for Americans to vote. President Trump sends a warning to criminals in Washington, D.C., although their mayor says that they're not seeing much crime, which means that one side is lying. We're going to get to the bottom of that today, but real quick, if you want timely updates when it comes to Social Security, U.S. politics, and world news that affects us, then go ahead and subscribe to become a civic patriot today. President Trump is cracking down on crime in Washington, D.C., and while critics fear that this is an authoritarian move, the president claims he just wants to make D.C. beautiful again.
We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're gonna beautify the city. We're gonna make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
These comments from the president have been getting a lot of attention from Democrats, one of which comes from the mayor of D.C. Here's Mayor Muriel Bowser saying that they're not experiencing a spike in crime in their area.
We have spent over the last 2 years driving down violent crime in this city, driving it down to a 30-year low, in fact. Over the past year, and thank you for showing, we have decreased violent crime by 26%. The year before that by 35%. It is true that we had a terrible spike in crime in 2023, but this is not 2023. This is 2025. And we've done that by working with the community, working with the police, working with our prosecutors, and in fact, working with the federal government.
I find it amusing to hear these government officials make bold claims like this one, because DC's own numbers tell a different story. Now sure, we can find that some crimes have gone down, but if we go by this 20-year trend, you'd see that the numbers for last year are still really high, much higher compared to 2016 to 2019. So they're just cherry-picking numbers to prove their message. But the fact of the matter is, we should be able to leave our homes without the threat of getting hurt by violent criminals. Now, the Attorney General for Virginia doesn't really agree with Mayor Bowser. According to him, things are getting worse in D.C.
Well, it's affected real Virginians. I think of Christy Batista, a beautiful student at James Madison University who was in Washington, D.C. just to go see a concert, and she was brutally stabbed by a repeat offender in her own hotel. And the reality is the D.C. police chief, the former D.C. police chief, noted that the average arrest record for someone who was picked up on a murder charge in Washington, D.C. is 11 prior arrests. They've had too many individuals, too many politicians who really want our prosecutors and our police to act like social workers instead of what is their number one job, which is protecting their citizens. And it directly impacts Virginians because so many Virginians go into the district to work, to be entertained, to go out to dine. And I can tell you so many of my Virginia constituents no longer feel safe in D.C., whereas they used to stay, maybe go to something at the Kennedy Center or go out to eat. If they have to work in the district, they immediately cross the river back into Virginia as soon as they're done with their work.
There are those who claim that changing the way we vote will solve all of these problems, especially since Democrats have been known to be soft on crime. And speaking of voting, Democrats are not liking how Republicans are taking a page out of their playbook. I'm talking about gerrymandering and how it's being used to change electoral district boundaries.
Every major group that grades the fairness of congressional maps gives your state an F. Common Cause, a nonpartisan government watchdog, even says your map, and I'm going to quote, represents a nearly perfect model for everything that can go wrong with redistricting. And I guess the question is, you talk about preserving democracy. How do you preserve democracy if you're using the same tactics that you've criticized Texas Republicans for?
But as I say, what they're talking about is a distraction. The reality is that the violation of people's voting rights is what Texas is attempting to do. That's what's wrong with their efforts right now. And the fact that the president of the United States knows it and nevertheless is asking them to do it.
A distraction, that's really what he's going with? I'm curious though. Why do Democrats think that they can get away with doing this, but the minute Republicans do the same thing, they go out and call it cheating? For them, it's tactical to gerrymander, but then turn around and call it rigging the election when the GOP does it. And here is the best part. Democrats are openly contradicting themselves in the media. Listen to former AG Eric Holder say that gerrymandering is needed to save democracy while calling it a threat to democracy. You just can't make this stuff up.
Let me ask you, how can gerrymandering both be a threat to democracy and also the way to save it?
Well, there's no question that gerrymandering is a threat to our democracy. It allows politicians to pick their voters as opposed to citizens choosing their representatives. But we are now in a situation where we find ourselves where authoritarian moves are being made by the White House through various states, Texas most prominent among them, and there has to be a response to that. What I've said is that we have to protect our democracy now if we ultimately want to be able to save it.
Even NBC News doesn't know what to make of these Democrats and these kinds of statements, because the fact of the matter is they're only angry because Republicans are giving them a taste of their own medicine. And it's frustrating for them since their own base is growing tired of them always blaming Trump for everything. But if you ask someone like New York Governor Kathy Hochul, they always abide by the rules.
If we don't fight for our democracy, we're doomed to lose it. That's how high the stakes are right now. And New York State, our normal redistricting, the next election would occur in 2032. I'm going to do whatever I can to literally change the Constitution of New York State to allow us to have an election with the lines that we draw. If this is how they're going to play the game, we're going to fight fire with fire.
Do you believe the governor? And I want to ask, are you in favor of what Republicans in Texas are doing? Let me know down in the comments. Lastly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get your daily fix of news that matters to all of us here at home. As always, thank you for your time. Talk to you in the next one.